In this demo, I'm going to walk you through some ideas for making charts more accessible in Power BI, and I'm going to focus on line charts. Line charts like this one can be difficult for some viewers to read because they depend on color to identify each data series. For this line chart, I purposely picked some problematic colors just to highlight what I mean. So you may have no trouble telling a dark gray line from a dark blue line and a dark green line like we have here. But some of your report users may find this visual really hard to read. And so we're going to talk about some ways that we can handle that. The first question you should always ask for any visual is, what do I want users to see? And most of the time when you're dealing with time series data, users want to compare the most recent series of data to historical data points. So in this case, since I want users to focus on the line for 2020, and I'm going to use color for that line only and shades of gray for the historical years. But like I said, the problem with line charts is that oftentimes color is the only indicator telling users which lines represent which data series. So that can cause some accessibility issues. So I also want to highlight other options that are found in the shapes settings for the line charts that allow us to customize more than colors for these line charts. So quickly, I'm going to change my colors. I'm going to make 2020 pop. I'll pick this blue for 2019. I'm going to make that a dark gray, and for 2018, I'm going to make that kind of a medium gray. The colors aren't that important because this is about accessibility, so we're going to talk about some ways to make these lines stand out regardless of the color. In the shape setting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give each line its own unique thickness. If you wanted to, you could customize the series and give each line its own unique style. Like I could make one line solid, one line dashed, one line dotted. You don't really need to get too carried away with these, but I do find that giving each line their own thickness might help users, focus on the bold line first. So I'll leave 2018 the way that it is. I'm going to make 2019 just a little bit thicker. I'll leave that at a 4. 2020 is really the headline in this visual. That's what I want, where I want users to focus. So I'm going to make that the boldest of all. I'll increase its stroke width to about 6. Now we're going to add markers so that users can recognize that 2020 is different from the others. And I'm only going to add a marker to 2020. I'm not going to worry about 2018 and 2019. I'm happy with the way that those look now. But by going to customize series under shapes, I can just add markers to 2020. So I'll do that by showing markers. Currently it's set to a circle. The circles are fairly small. In fact, they're a little bit hard to make out. So I'll increase the marker size to 8, maybe 9, just to make sure that everyone can see those markers. Now 2020 is much easier to see. If you wanted to add a different marker to 2019, that's something you could do. I don't think it's necessary for this visual, but just for demonstration purposes, I'll add a marker to 2019 and I'll make that marker a square just to set it apart. I'll make the markers a little bit larger. Okay, and so now each of our lines looks completely unique, and users can go up here and they can see 2018 versus 2019 versus 2020. We can also add that accessibility to our legend as well. So if we open our legend options, down here you have the ability to select the style for the legend, and currently we're just showing the markers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show the line as well as the markers. Because notice, if I'm just showing markers, 2018 and 2020 are both circles, which might cause confusion. However, if we change this to lines and markers, now all the items in our legend look completely distinct from each other. Users can tell that 2018 is the thinnest line, 2019 is the line that has squares on it as markers, and 2020 is the line with circles as markers. One more accessibility feature that is common to all of these visuals is focus mode, which is up here in the top right corner. So if we click on focus mode, all that's going to do is just ensure that that line chart takes up the entire page, which again is just something really smart to do for presentations where someone might be, the CEO or the chief marketing officer of your company might be trying to read a visual from across a room, and that can be extremely difficult. So focus mode is just a way of making one visual take up the entire screen.